Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. It is an absolute honor to have you again today. And we're going to be talking about this phenomenon called the pigtail theory, hashtag pigtail theory, if you will, and the very riveting story of a young woman, Caitlin Boss, who tells the tale of this adventure, or whatever you want to call it, of her working in a sports bra and putting to test this theory and her frustrations, and then a larger problem that I'm seeing that nobody really wants to talk about, but that we're going to talk about here today, right? Because, okay, so this hashtag pigtail theory. What is the story? Well, this article talks, it says, I wear pigtails to my waitressing job because men tip better when I do. It grosses me out, but the money is worth it. So what is this pigtail theory? Well, it's a trend going around where people post videos and testimonials across the internet and challenge other people to try this out, which essentially is if you work in the service industry, bartending, serving tables, start wearing pigtails and you can double, if not triple, your tips. So this, right off the bat, I feel like it's provocative, right? It's the thing where you know what you're going to get, but it's a way to instigate. Maybe for the positive, maybe for the better, but I don't think so. But anyway, this girl in Utah works at a sports bar. She's 22. Her name is Caitlin Boss. And, she's frustrated from making $2.13 an hour. Now, this is, all this anti-capitalism sentiment. Not that I agree with the $2.13, but obviously she's not bringing home $2.13 an hour because the law is set to where the employer has to cover a full minimum wage if that's not met. I served for a long time. But anyway, that's not the point. Getting here, she's complaining about the 213, and they make sure to highlight that 213. And so she says, well, what can I do to make more money? So she tries the pigtail thing. It's, picture her wearing pigtails. Anyway, she says that immediately she starts making $100 tips left and right, like literally making it rain. And she complains that the guys are absolute perverts, and it makes her uncomfortable. And they're so full of disgraziati, and in the end, that they're infantilizing her, right? That it's the pigtails, that's like she's childlike. And so apparently all these men are pedos. That's essentially the moral of the entire story, is this conflicting feelings that she has of making money, doing it, but thinking of the hating the customers that tip her, right? And the ones that tip, apparently she says the ones that tip the highest were in their 40s or 50s. So it's like a exasperating creepiness, I guess. Although, I'm almost 40, but, I don't know, whatever. I used to be a really big tipper. Now I tip normally. Now I never really go out to eat anymore. And she says she finds it disturbing that men love the pigtail look. So a lot of assumptions here. Now, you see a lot of the comments are even more disturbing. I think one of the ones that really stood out here is like, Shelly Jean says, people complaining that she's objectifying herself, but not the fact that men are clearly attracted to her more because she resembles an innocent child with the hairstyle. Not surprising, but come on, people. Again, another comment, same thing. It says it's not the fact that she's underage or not. It's because wearing pigtails gives the illusion of being underage and innocent, and men still fetishize it about it. It's weird. This is like, it's very, and this is huge. It's like a brigade of comments. And this is pretty much the sentiment, as is the sentiment of the overall hashtag that's supposed to, I suppose, bring, I don't know, more attention to this. But it's demonizing men again in a way that I think is uncalled for. Goes back to this other thing I used to hear all the time, that if you don't like hairy women, or you for some reason prefer, I don't know, a woman who shaves her armpits or shaves her legs or whatever, then you're actually a pedo. And I mean, a lot of women will tell you that with a straight face. Or you can't handle a real woman because she's overweight or whatever. Anyway, it's all this stuff that they say to try to make you feel like you're somehow less of a man unless you conform to the ideas of women, which is funny idea, because it's like, so for me to be a man, I actually have to be subservient to a woman, which turns around, it's not what women find attractive in the first place. If you're too much of someone who's not assertive, then they'll be like, he's not assertive enough. Going back to the thing, we know you don't, just because someone's hairless or whatever, there's so many more features that make a child, that make a woman, for the love of Christ. That the hair thing is completely, it's just crazy, because the largest, population in the world are Asians, right? There's an enormous number of Asians in the world. And Asian women are mostly hairless. And Asian men as well. They don't really have hair on their legs or armpits or stuff like this. So what are we saying? Are we just pushing that whole category out of it and being like, oh, no, well, there. See where the whole argument falls apart very quickly. But, it's not even the point. The point is that I don't know why people are doing this. And she chooses to put these pigtails on and assumes the worst out of people. Now, keep in mind, this is a sports bar. This is not a cafe. It's not, a fine dining establishment. It is a sports bar. Sports bars, people go to have fun, and it's a mostly male-dominated atmosphere. A lot of these places are run like Hooters, really. Skimpy clothes. I mean, there's an Irish version of like a Hooters, not called Hooters, but the women wear skimpy clothes and shit like that. So you're going to expect that the skimpier clothes you wear, the higher the tips. The more flirty you are, the higher the tips. So I was surprised. Are pigtails infantilizing? No, it's just different. And if anything, it is a resemble and a reminder of a sexual position that you can do holding the pigtails. So it's a little bit of an aphrodisiac, if you will. In popular culture, people are wearing pigtails. I don't see it as something that is childlike. As a matter of fact, I can't even remember the last time I saw a child with pigtails. It's and maybe I'm wrong here because maybe at one point it was something that was classically childlike, but I think it's being taken completely out of context here. You know what I mean? And people are using it, they're weaponizing it to hate on dudes. And the fact that, like I said, it's a sports bar. If it was a different kind of atmosphere, I would understand her complaining, but it's not. I used to work at a bar where we wear kilts, right? And I tell you, the guys wore kilts. And I often didn't wear nothing underneath. None of us really did because we were trying to do authentic, but no, really laziness. The women at this place would shove their hands up our kilts every freaking night. It was crazy. A buddy of mine had scratch marks across his butt cheeks from when these old ladies would, and this is just a sports bar, mind you. So it's not one-sided, you know what I'm saying? And as a matter of fact, I think that women tend to get more handsy than men do because men, there's a status quo. It is against, the rules. It is more severely punished by women and men alike, so they enforce these social construct, these rules that say, hey, you can't be grabbing people. But women don't really have that because they're not seen as aggressors. It's not seen as dangerous or predatory. Comunque, what do you guys think about this whole thing? For me, it's very frustrating because I see this stuff and I see where it's going. And I'm not trying to defend pedos, for the love of Christ, all right? But we're blanket stating anything anybody does and calling it pedo in a way to demonize them, dehumanize them. And then anything is fair game because in our culture today, if you say somebody's a pedo, you're allowed to burn them alive, skin them. There's no pity. They show things, oh, this guy did this and the father burned him alive and everybody's like, hey, bravo. It's like with impunity. So it's a perfect thing to tack on to somebody because then all bets are off. You're not human anymore. And we're laying it on so thick, that's what worries me. I don't know. What do you guys think? Thank you guys for tuning in. As always, buy red and sell green.